to engage tools. This would be pretty spicy if SKT chose to go for this, but every time you pick anything that is good at disengaging the moment the Leona goes in is typically a great matchup, and that's why I'm a huge fan of the Alistar.
And I really do like things where you can separate the teams once again. We saw it in the last game, but once Leona engages on you, if you can then separate her from the rest of the team, turning that one-way trip in your favor, that's a big deal. Lee Sin kick, Alistar headbutt are things that they can accomplish it with. And with the Vladimir last pick here for SK Telecom, they do bring a lot more teamfight presence to their composition.
Ooh, we're going to be seeing the Veigar counter. I know this was something that I think propped up this split in the LCS a couple of times as an answer to the Akali. No, come on. They're not going to do that.
No.
I'm pretty confident that the Veigar is going to be sent to the mid lane. And I think it can be a pretty solid pick because every time she goes into a Shroud, you have the Event Horizon, I believe is the name.
Yep.
And the thing about Akali is she only has dashes, no blinks, which means that as long as Veigar is either inside or outside of the Event Horizon and he creates a space, there's no way for the Akali to close the gap.
It does mean that the Veigar is playing defense for the early game, though. So, I mean, we saw this in the LCS. Niski picked it for Cloud9 in the mid lane. And you do have to try and work around that. It's going to be extremely difficult for them to actually go super offensive with it. So I think, again, especially with the Gangplank pick for them, a lot of their eyes are going to be turned towards the bottom half of the map.
And a lot of questions. Can SK Telecom T1 lock the first seed in this group? And can Fnatic keep the dream of the miracle run alive? They beat And here we are in the third game of the day. 3 more left to decide the group. Fnatic have to win this one. Want to keep up. Currently tied with RNG in the scoreline. Need to find a win versus SKT and a win versus RNG later.
Now, for SKT, they have a pretty solid 2v2 in the bot lane. I think it's really hard for Rekkles and Hylissang to force engages onto Teddy and Effort, largely because of the Alistar. Early levels, they may be able to have a wave clear advantage, so they can look to gain push, but in this early game, I feel that SKT's bot lane should be relatively safe. Meanwhile, Veigar is going to struggle against an Akali early levels. His wave clear and damage is nothing. Well, there's nothing there. He doesn't really do a lot, so Akali has a lot of freedom. And for the Vlad, this is a lane matchup where you have a lot of freedom because Gangplank can't really force you out of lane. Even if he can trade pretty aggressively early, there's plenty of scaling options and is considered one of the best late game picks. So when I look at this SKT comp, I think they have pretty strong scaling. I think they have pretty effective side lanes. And I think that they don't need to force a lot in the early game. If they want to play around the lane, I think they should try and play through mid to try and put the Veigar behind and try and get Faker in an advantageous position as possible.
Honestly, if you're looking at it from SK Telecom's point of view, you do want to see Faker roaming with Clid. It's those two that can create plays for the team early on. And I've talked to a lot of the Gangplank players. They want to go as aggressive as they can early versus the Vladimir. Try and make as much use of your passive as possible. Try and get your harassment with your grass procs down. Because later on, the Vladimir is going to be able to dive you and provide that threat. Definitely one of the best scaling matchups, as you alluded to.
And I think a lot of pressure on Nemesis to perform because he is going toe-to-toe with Faker in a matchup that should lose early, even if it has some ideal interactions into the matchup. And Faker, unsurprising to many, has been absolutely dominant in the tournament thus far. A massive part of SKT's 4-0 run. Whoa! That thought is an aggressive trade on the top side, a flash-for-flash trade, but both mid and top apparently going to be quite important in this game.
And that's exactly what you want to see from the Gangplank side of this early. Because Vladimir is just trying to get levels into Q. A nice barrel chain again from Bwipo. And they're actually prepping this one. This is a topside clear from Broxah. He's taking a long time on Krugs, but if he could have gotten over there another 5 seconds earlier, that was going to be a dive. Now off of the teleport, they can try and deny the big minion wave.
I wonder if Khan has taken pool yet.
I think they're waiting to see. That's why Broxah's holding off. He doesn't want to dive while he thinks it could be up. If he does take the E, though, they could force it. Broxah going to stay and wait for the Scuttle Crab spawn, and Khan, now hitting level 3, will be fine to survive any kind of dive.
Clid now hanging around the bot side of the map. We talk about how difficult it is for Hylissang and Rekkles to engage on this duo, and you can see that they're playing much more defensively in the 2 versus 2, especially given that their jungler is currently topside. They will know where Clid is, and they will just keep an eye on whether or not the blue buff has been stolen away.
And that's the key. It's about the information that you gain and using that to predict where the enemy is. With Broxah's invade and putting that ward down, seeing Blue and Gromp both gone for SK Telecom, they know by process of elimination, Clid has to be bottom. So that is simple communication, process of elimination on your jungle camps. By them predicting that Clid will be here, they back off. They don't want to give him an opportunity to go for the gank. It is still going to be the blue steal, though.
Knockback there, good bit of trading. Rekkles not able to find the snare quite yet. Nefert will be able to walk away from that one. But to be honest, after the last time we saw these teams meet, when it was a disastrous level 1 that put Fnatic so far behind, this is not a terrible start to the game for this team. Still have to respect Clid waiting in the darkness, but much better than previously. Clid now, though, going to run in. They're going to fish for the stun. Now he's going to try to dash out. Hylissang will go down here. First blood. Gragas, too little, too late.
4 minutes into the game, and Draco says this isn't too bad of a start, and then immediately the gank bot lane happens. Fnatic falling and giving away first blood.
You're putting that on him?
Yeah.
I think that was a really nice job by Effort, sticking with him, charging up the stun, landing it as Hylissang gets off the E to try and engage on Clid. Hylissang does not immediately flash away. If you let the Alistar charge up for the auto stun here, so here, his only chance to flash away would have been super early. The stun charges up for Effort. He ends up flashing out. Topside though, Faker's roaming.
Faker now stepping up into Bwipo. Shot will land, the TP being used as well just to make sure that Bwipo is safe. Nemesis gonna waddle his way towards Faker, very menacingly. And everyone's gonna walk away fine.
The mid wave is in a bit of an awkward spot because I think it's actually slowly pushing towards Faker, which is not really the state that Nemesis wants it in. But I really want to highlight how for Fnatic's bot lane as well, they should have recognized that jungler should have been in that area of the map. We already talked so much about how, given that you saw Broxah top, given that they had the information that Clid was pathing bot, he was likely going to be hanging around. And while Hylissang was playing defensively, it felt like that he was not fully prepared for the potential of that gank to happen, and they end up getting punished for it.
And we're looking at another case of this information. 2 wards here from SKT. See that there is no Broxah on the bottom half of the map, so Clid started up. Now he's getting low inside the Dragon, though, and Hylissang's there.
Hylissang walking in, trying to deny this one away. Bwipo's going to use the ult as well to force Clid off of this one. Broxah can walk in and try to stop the Dragon from resetting. Hylissang going to commit to the play anyway, but he's so low. Hylissang is going to go down for this one. Teddy grabs the kill.
Flashes, but the Kaisa auto is there for the passive. Dragon does reset, but it costs Hylissang his life. That is 2 now.
And you can understand that from Fnatic's perspective, they were like, well, the support doesn't have flash available. We can look to commit onto this play, but they also didn't have an AD carry there. Rekkles was forced to catch that wave underneath his tower, which is why SKT going for that Drake was actually very safe. They weren't in any real danger because they knew they had numbers advantage.
Exactly. It's not only the bottom lane pressure for SKT, but again, as I talked about in Champ Select, returning to this Veigar Akali matchup, especially with Nemesis blowing the teleport from Veigar to answer the roam earlier topside, Faker has so much priority in mid lane. It allows SKT those collapses.
And look at the pings that just came out on the minimap. Clid, very aware of where Broxah is on the map right now. He perfectly pinged out that the jungler was in the enemy half bot side, which means that the bot lane now has to play defensively. Of course, the wave is in a position where Teddy's going to take his time getting back to lane, and you'll also notice Effort looking for a bit of a roam. Going to maybe drop some vision down, maybe hang around mid to cover Faker, which is where Broxah could look for a gank.
Now we see Lee Sin stepping up, will be spotted out by the control ward in the brush. But Clid can look over and maybe look to contest Raptors if they are, or not Raptors, rather Krugs if they are going to respawn. And Bwipo has to be very careful. Grass plus the oranges should make this a little bit easier for him. Broxah now on the way. The Predator has now come out. They want to finish the kill off, but Bwipo is still alive. They've gotten locked up under the tower. He wants to finish it. Khan goes right back in. The pool keeping him healthy. He's going to have the empowered Q, but he can't do it. Clid, however, can finish the job. Kicks his Broxah back. Wants to use the Gragas as a highway back out. Broxah now hitting level 6. Ticking. Going to miss on the Sonic Wave. A tense 1v1 between the junglers, but both top laners drop.
And I want to circle that minion wave right there. That thing gets denied no matter what. So it, in the end, is still a successful dive for SK Telecom because Bwipo doesn't get those minions. However, good job by Broxah coming to answer that dive and try and turn it around. They do get the kill back.
And notice how Khan is tanking up the tower initially. He knows that he can soak up the damage, and Bwipo comes very close. If he lands that one auto, that would have been the kill, but it wasn't quite enough. Good Q there coming in from Clid to be able to find the execute as both top laners end up getting traded. Broxah does actually have his ultimate, but he chooses not to use it. Doesn't want to go for the overcommit against Clid, given that Faker was roaming up towards the top side as well. But you can see how much SKT have control over the early game.
I mean, Teddy, just a massive lead over Rekkles. Nemesis doing what he can to keep up with Faker. So far, a good job. Only a 200 gold deficit. You give him the scaling from his passive. Maybe it does balance out, but a very difficult start for Fnatic. And you can see the bot side just getting pushed in constantly. The cleanse, of course, still available on the side of Teddy, so he doesn't really have to be scared of this Fnatic bot side.
And we have approached the favored side of the Vladimir in this matchup. As Khan now level 7, getting the lower cooldown for his Q, getting the cooldown reduction from both items in inventory here, able to span out and continually heal. Now it gets very difficult for the Gangplank side. Currently Bwipo pushing him in, and Broxah is top side. But aside from that, it is going to be now SKT looking towards the Ocean Dragon.
Bwipo going to be happy with the play, but Khan might be fishing for the kill. We'll just use the Crimson Rush.
So he's not going to overcommit there, but here's Broxah. Will get spotted out by the vision. Immediately, Clid should make his way towards the Drake because they recognize the Rekkles has based. There's not going to be any AD carry to threaten. Faker has prio on mid. And so SKT have everything they could want. And again, this game should signify how smart Clid is as a jungler. He is playing around where he has pressure. He was bot side of the map early because he knew they would get the early push. When he paths up towards top, it's because there is a stacking wave from Khan, which means that they can set up the dive. And now he's back on the bot side of the map because he knows the Gragas wants to do a top side clear, and he's in position to steal away the blue buff. Everything is calculated, and Clid is in the right place at the right time at every stage of this game so far.
And exactly as I said, they're going to take the Ocean Dragon there because Broxah on the control world reveals nobody is going to answer. Faker poking down Nemesis very, very early here, and the rest of SKT smell blood.
They're just going to go for it. Headbutt pulverizing, so it's going to take it. So they're going to go for Broxah. They're going to try to make their way out of that one. Nemesis is going to try to find the stun. Broxah's going to come out into a stun member. Will now be able to make it out to safety, trying to knock him back. Clid going to get taken down. A clean turn. The Gangplank ult as well. Teddy burning, and here comes Hylissang for the shutdown.
What a turnaround for Fnatic! Look at that defense!
Wow, Fnatic actually hold the line. I was convinced it was going to be doomed, but Fnatic actually walk away. They've managed to close the goal gap significantly, and Rekkles is just free farming in the bot side of the map. So as we approach the mid game, Fnatic clearly not conceding everything.
Now setting up for the Herald. Khan waiting around, maybe going to look for some kind of contest. Faker's coming in as well. No ultimate available for the Akali. Nemesis zoning off this entire area. Faker still, though, fearlessly stepping forward. Effort on the way in as well.
Rekkles has TP if he wants to join the fight, but Fnatic haven't had an opportunity to reset after that play, and I think they should just disengage.
They may have just leashed this for the side of SKT. Will they stay too long? Will they try to overcommit? Eye on the barrel change. The stun is there. Khan hitting 4 members. That is a massive hemo plague. Rekkles now TPing in. They're going to try to turn this one. They're going to try to burst Khan down before he can get into the pool. He won't get a chance. The objective is still alive. Eyes on the Herald, who gets it in the end. SKT, but Fnatic will play defense. We'll try to stop this one away. Effort has now been locked up. And then once again, a beautiful Veigar stun. Teddy can't get back in the fight. He has to burn cleanse to do so. Rekkles fearlessly firing into Faker. The double kill going down for Bwipo.
And Fnatic actually come out on top of this fight. And it's all because Rekkles is able to TP in. They had the numbers advantage. A lot of the ultimates were unavailable for SKT. And while Khan did land a huge ulti, there was no real follow-up from SKT.
Exactly. Fnatic kite out the duration of the Hemo Plague.
TP?
They're teleporting Khan back in to pick up the Eye of the Rift Herald. I have to say, though, also the turn from Hylissang on the Leona. He has been the target of so much over and over, dying. Here we go, though. We're going to see Broxah's stopwatch on display.
Props to Gragas for body blocking. Then he uses the stopwatch, and combined with the stun and the GP ultimate, SKT realize how bad of an idea this ends up being. Quick TP in from Bwipo along with the roam from Hylissang allows Fnatic to gain so much off the back of this play.
Yeah, stopwatch just changes the game there. Here's the turn I'm talking about. They kite out the Hemo Plague immediately, turn onto Khan. They eliminate the Vladimir from the equation, and then they're even able to chase down the extra kill.
And look at what Teddy does in this whole fight. He lands a W, he lands a Q, and a single auto. But outside of that, it was a 4 versus 5. SKT chose to stick around even at a numbers disadvantage, and that is what allowed Fnatic to find a successful fight.
It is just so difficult to play team fights as a Kaisa up against a Veigar. The slows, if you get too close, from the hose. He's also got the freedom to try to ult in, but if you alter that cage, you instantly die. Cleanse is there, but he did not want to use it, and now SKT are applying pressure on the top side. They want to use that Herald. They want to grab these plates, and if Bwipo steps too far forward, they may just look for the dive.
Look at where Fnatic is on the bot side of the map, though. They recognize that jungler is probably going to be top. Broxah doing the cross map and looking to set up for a play bot.
Bwipo now getting run. Ulti does connect. He has been locked up under tower. Still alive, however. Bwipo so incredibly tanky. Khan overstaying his welcome. Clid going to take the tower, but now Bwipo might just look for the double. Steps forward. Parlay. Can he get in range? Time Warp Tonic will be enough. The extra movement speed.
He's laughing.
He's just laughing.
He's laughing.
Nemesis, though, now he's the one in trouble. The slow does connect. Faker willing to go right back under tower.
Whoa! Nemesis just smashes Faker underneath the tower. The ultimate from the Veigar, putting him in his place.
Failed tower dive after failed tower dive after failed tower dive for SK Telecom, and Fnatic, with resounding success here, are going to push back.
And in the game versus RNG, we talked about it. Sometimes SKT try too hard to force these plays, and we're seeing it once again. Fnatic punishing it every turn. And that's almost a 3K gold lead, 2.5 in favor of Fnatic at this point in the game, and they only get scarier. The Veigar are going to continue to scale. The GP on the top side, 3-1-3 for Bwipo. An abysmal week 1 into a monster performance in this game.
I'd love to say that Nemesis outplayed Faker there, but that's just the power of the Veigar ultimate.
Primordial burst!
It's just so much damage, and it scales off missing HP as well, and we'll get to see it. In this situation, most mid laners would have lost their life. Faker recognizes that with the Merc Treads, he can commit to this dive, and he's thinking, it's fine, I'm going to kill him. But Q into ulti with the tower shot as well. Maximum outplay.
120 AP earned from the passive so far for Nemesis. Here we go.
Faker, though, is going to get knocked back here. Nemesis expecting him to get aggressive again, throws down the cage a little bit early and can just return to farming. Of course, Veigar just going to continue to stack and stack and stack. A death cap going to amplify that even further as we get later in the game.
All right, Bwipo was taunting earlier, but he's got to give this one up. He knows that SKT Brute Force will be able to take that tower. Let's see here about moving in on the ward line, because they've spent so much of their vision on the top half of the map.
You can see a stopwatch up for Teddy along with the cleanse, so he can play a little bit more aggressively and step forward. Still giving Rekkles and Hylissang a lot of respect, though, and backing off the wave as Faker just checks the brush just in case.
So we're in a state now where Fnatic have found a gold lead against SKT. We have to recognize that SKT, in my opinion, do have a scaling advantage with Vladimir along with the Kaisa in the late game. We've already seen what Teddy can do against RNG in the late game, and while their 5v5 is not the easiest to execute, I still feel that in terms of their power, especially in the late game and being able to play on sides, it's something that Fnatic have to respect.
I feel like Fnatic also do have some decent scaling for themselves.
For sure.
You know, Gangplank as well as Veigar getting his...
But it's one of those situations to me where I'm like, okay, if Gangplank has to go up against a Vlad in a side lane, I would give the advantage to the Vlad once he reaches a certain item threshold. And while I think that for a Veigar, he does scale well later on into team fights, in a side lane, he's not going to have that same value.
To hold that thought as the siege is starting up mid lane, the cage laid down. Flashbacks to Cloud9 from so many worlds ago. And Effort tries to go in, but it might cost him. Hylissang going to go forward, but he misses on the Zenith blade, throws down the ult. He wants to get something. Effort deleted. The cast comes down, and that's the kill for Broxah.
Here we go, flank. SKT are behind.
Khan wants it on the backside. The cage has already been used. Nemesis is going to delete Faker to kick the fight off. The Hemo Plague has landed on 4 members, but they're not going to have the follow-up. Khan now caught in the cage. Fnatic, they can keep the fight going. He desperately wants to turn it. Khan locked up. The CC comes through, and Khan goes down.
And it's so difficult for SKT to engage on this Fnatic comp just because of the Veigar. Nemesis is doing a fantastic job of utilizing this event horizon to zone SKT away, land so much poke, and now they've just secured a successful fight and another tower.
Fnatic are making Faker looked like an imposter here. He goes for the engage and immediately burst him down. Once Akali's dead, Khan knows that his flank, he's got to go all the way through and run to the rest of the team. Here's another look at how it actually started. The siege from Fnatic, throwing down the stun from Veigar to zone them off of the turret, then turning the focus here. Even though Hylissang misses the flash E, he lands the ultimate, which sets up Broxah to pour one out.
You can see how much damage Nemesis is doing on this Veigar as well. And
what a body slam.
Nemesis even uses his ultimate here, doesn't need it. The damage coming out from the rest of Fnatic is more than enough, and they know that they can keep committing to the rest of this fight.
The early dive was Broxah's stopwatch. This one, Broxah's body slam there, stunning up Faker. He has really been a combo breaker to SK Telecom's attempts.
This is a huge game for Broxah, an important one as well, as it's been the story of so many different underperformances over the course of the first week of groups. Now into the second week, Broxah showing up when it matters most.
And it's really important that you mention that, Dracos, because all of the criticism was going towards Broxah and Bwipo, this duo, but they're a large part of why Fnatic are in this position right now. They're looking for Faker.
I'd say smacking Faker's a good way to turn the critics around. Faker caught in the cage. Faker knocked into the ground. 6 feet under as Fnatic will take another tower.
If you go at the king, you best not miss, and Fnatic aren't missing today. They find him again. He's in the death chamber for 25 more seconds, and they're on the inhibitor turret.
Eyes on Effort next. He walks right back in. He can deny as much CC as he wants, but still, they're just taking him down. They're chipping through. They don't care about the Alistar ultimate. They want to burn him down, and they're going to do it. Bwipo's focusing the tower. The rest of SKT have to run for the hills, and even Khan's Vladimir is not enough. Hylissang going golden. Nemesis coming over the wall. Where's the cage going to go? Khan trying to turn this fight around desperately. It goes down. Khan will be caught inside, but will not be stunned. The tower will drop in favor of Fnatic.
Here comes the TP flank. SKT looking to get something back.
They think Fnatic have overstayed. They think they've overextended. Faker still with ult available, but he's going to back off. He doesn't want to take the risk. The rest of the team want to retreat here.
And the Verdi Music Hall has now come alive. Fnatic looked abysmal against Clutch Gaming. You could feel the doubt in this room as that team struggled to take down Clutch, and now they sit with a 5k gold advantage over SKT.
And a 10-stack Magi's on Nemesis, 2-0-10 on Broxah, 5-1-6 on Bwipo. An incredible game so far, and as we look back at this, the confidence from Fnatic, this is the team European fans expected.
Yeah, Hylissang flashes over the wall to get the stun onto Faker. They know they get that pick, they get the push.
Fight kicking off once again, Effort caught out and just gone! Dark Matter is dealing so much damage. Bwipo can now continue to chase forward. Fnatic looking for the setup on the Baron. They're pinging it out. SKT pinging it too. They know that this might have been the last mistake they could afford to make.
And if you thought engaging onto Fnatic was hard before, good luck trying to get close to that Baron now with Nemesis being level 12. He is so poised and ready to just deny the engage.
4K, 3K, getting lower. Teddy over the wall. I don't think he can steal this one away. It's going to drop. Broxah gets the smite. Fnatic get the Baron, but Teddy, he's now been caught out by the GP ult, and Fnatic are on the hunt.
Look at him waddle!
The kick. He could look for the disengage. Teddy, of course, with the cleanse up. He has the flash as well. Just going to flash out to safety. Hylissang will not find the engage.
They're not done yet.
Youmuu's coming through for Bwipo. He wants to chase, gets the extra movement speed. Teddy gonna dash away there, uses the ultimate. Broxah coming in, he's gonna throw the cats, he's gonna knock it back to the wall. Fnatic wanna keep it going. Clid gets in the baby cage and gets knocked out of the game. Effort has to go back in. It's a massive fight. The Alistar, a miserable game for Effort as he's been caught time after time.
Fnatic are relentless. It's the 5-man roaming death squad that will chase you down, and they find another kill.
And the crowd here in Verdi, they know it. We've been here before. It was 2017. The dream was alive. You thought it was dead when you saw the names SKT and RNG, but Fnatic are keeping their dreams alive. They're keeping the hopes of Europe going as they push into the base of SKT. This will be 2 inhibitors down. 1 to follow. SKT, they still have scaling. They can hold on, but this is Fnatic's game to lose.
2 minutes left on the Baron buff. SK Telecom trying to chase them out of the base, but there's nothing that Fnatic have to be afraid of. The only hard engage is that of effort, the Alistar, and they just have to keep their flanks warded, and they should be able to continue the game as planned. 2 minutes left on the Baron buff, and they should continue to push.
This Veigar pick was just so big brain because it's so difficult to engage onto it. We talked about how just in the matchup alone, because Akali only has dashes, it's hard for her to close the gap. But the entire engage of SKT is just hard to execute because of the amount of disengage until he goes in.
Hylissang running forward, the ulti goes down, but he still manages to find it. Bwipo now on the chase, wants to hit the barrel, it still connects on Teddy, he's not fast enough. Rekkles finds the pick in the end.
You laughed at Hylissang in lane phase, but he is making them pay. Another chase down.
And another inhibitor for Fnatic. And Venice, you talked about it, the Veigar so big brain. So many short-range champions that want to dive the backline, and Veigar says no. They don't even need him anymore. That's how far ahead the team is. Almost 10K in favor of Fnatic, 8K at the moment.
If Fnatic take this game, they can still force a tiebreaker with SKT.
Yes.
Like this day, they could still get first in the group.
Bwipo overstays his welcome and is shut down. A good pick for SKT. Maybe it'll let them hang on to the base, but Fnatic have earned some of those mistakes. Can't afford to make too many more.
Definitely a believer in week 2 Europe, Vedius.
Yeah, we'll just forget yesterday.
Forget yesterday. Day 1 happened. Day 3 happened. I wasn't here for day 2. I have no idea what happened.
You're right. If Fnatic somehow go 3-0, then
it's possible.
Yes. If they're able to do that, then this group becomes very interesting. I think that in order to challenge for first, they need Clutch to be SKT as well.
True.
But what this is building up towards is the RNG versus Fnatic game at the end of the day. It is going to be an extremely important matchup that pretty much decides how this group will play out. But Fnatic still have to close. As you said, Rekkles, this is their game to lose. Teddy still very far behind on the itemization. Faker very strong, but not really strong enough to be able to melt through this entire Fnatic roster. And you just look across the board. Rekkles, 3 items. Nemesis, nearly 8 fully stacked Mejais. Bwipo even going for a bit of lethality. Fnatic would have to do a lot of mistakes in order to throw this game away.
And Hylissang, he's been so aggressive so far and it's paid off, but as SKT get further and further in the game, he has to be more careful because Kaisa has 3 items. Will start to be a bigger and bigger threat with the double evolves, and this is the flank we talked about. It's effort on the backside. Fnatic have to be ready for this Alistar, and they are. They back off. They will not overcommit. They're taking their time on this siege.
They have to be patient because mid and top have not walked in yet with the super minions. They will arrive soon. They should arrive at the same time as the bot wave. And at that point, SKT will be forced to divide.
Time is working in favor of Fnatic right now. You mentioned those super minions. Teddy has to go top to deal with them. They can try and push in on this wave. Teddy's running back right now, but the Gangplank ultimate is down.
GP ult, Cage comes out. Khan going to be trapped inside it. Broxah leaps forward, will not find the engage. The tower is the focus for Fnatic. And they will break it. SKT stepping forward, but they won't connect. Hylissang going over the wall, trying to find the engage. The Cage connects on Clid. They're not going to take the bait, though. They're focusing. They want 3 inhibitors. They will not get over-aggressive for kills. They see the end in sight, and they will not falter here.
Yeah, Fnatic don't need to take any gambles because they have the pressure with all of these super minions walking in. The Baron will spawn in a minute. They're not going to overstay.
Clid,
Here comes Clid.
The kick through the Veigar, but still the Cage comes out. He stops the engage. Khan has to find a way in. Rekkles throwing the feathers through. He wants to pull them back. Khan, this is his hero moment. Can he turn it? The double kill dropping for Bwipo. Khan wants to turn the fight, but he doesn't have enough. The shutdown onto Veigar. Will it buy enough time?
Rekkles has teleport. He can teleport right back. This is Fnatic.
Only Faker is left alive to look as his team crumbles, and Fnatic will look to make the European Week 2 dream a reality.
After a miserable Week 1, here it is, folks. LEC fans, the dream is alive.
Fnatic have somehow made the upset happen. Everyone counted them out. We, after last game, were all saying that it was over.
I'm not Kobe. I did, but I was wrong.
But after training for 48 minutes against the Clutch Gamers, Fnatic look greatly improved. The swagger is there for Bwipo.
You must beat Clutch in order to become Clutch. And so it is written. Fnatic, the matchup versus Orange.